back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, and of course the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate everyone out there checking all of our great shows. And if you can, please make sure you give us that like, share, and subscribe. Let people know that we cover the world of pop culture and have been for, well, closing in on almost 10 years now. So hopefully you will give us a shot and give us a chance continuously because we provide the best in entertainment and pop culture right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Well, it wouldn't be a pop culture cosmos without my good friend indeed. And I'll tell you what, I have a great friend here. He's flip flopping, swip swapping, doing something because he is stepping in for I guess I don't want to say Christmas vacationing, but holiday road is Josh on. He is right now with the family. Oh, yes. So he is. Sorry, I won't do that again. I promise.
Yeah. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Okay. But he is on the road this holiday season. So stepping in is the guy who hosts the Friday show or PC Multiverse. It is, of course, TJ Johnson. TJ, always great to have you here, my friend. Whether it's Monday, Friday, whenever, it really doesn't matter to me.
Hey, as long as the day ends in Y, brother, I'm happy to be here. In the Pop Culture Cosmos. Pop
Yes.
Culture Cosmos.
Always great to have you here, my friend. We had a chance just before airtime to check out the brand new trailer finally released. You don't have to go ahead and spend $30 at IMAX theaters. You don't have to go ahead. Well, actually, if you want to see an extended cut, you do, but you don't have to go ahead and try and catch the, cellular phone copy, whatnot, like people are trying to do with the Avengers trailers and all that. It is, of course,
Oh,
the fantastic upcoming movie for 2026. Of course, Jonathan Nolan's The Odyssey, starring Matt Damon and his beard. Let me ask you this, my friend.
yes.
I want to lead you into a little bit. They only show 2 minutes and doesn't show you very much at all. Only
No.
gives you little hints and pieces about that. But I am just so excited because Avengers Doomsday. What's going on
Yes.
with the Odyssey? What's going on with Tom Cruise's Digger movie that is
Mhm.
coming out here? I don't know what he was doing with that shovel, and he was dancing around with it, but okay, that has me interested to find out what's going on. I don't know if it reminds me of is it going to be a hit or is it going to be like that when he was a drug plane um, pilot? If
Right.
you remember that one didn't do so well. Um, but there's so many movies that I'm looking forward to in the year 2026.
Yes. Yes.
Your thoughts on how 2026 probably in our minds, or at least mine, will end up being better than 2025. We're going to dedicate a show to all the stuff looking forward to in 26, but I just wanted to hear some quick thoughts with you on it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just looking at the line, I mean, just the three that we touched on right then and there, right here. It's already looking to be a very, very eventful 2026.
Mhm.
Odyssey, I don't know how, and I need to repent because as a pop culture guy, I don't know how to know about this, but I did not know about Odyssey. But watching that trailer,
Mhm.
one, it looks epic. Obviously, Christopher Nolan is an amazing director, and he likes to work with the same people. So having Anne Hathaway in there is something I wouldn't be surprised if I see Cillian Murphy in there at some point. Not that we will, not that we won't. I just wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised at this point. But my point is,
Mhm.
it looks really good. Obviously, Tom Holland in there, and that's as our Spider Man is going to be in that movie.
Oh, and his gal is going to be in there too. Zendaya's in
Oh,
there, Charlize
see,
Theron, Lupita
see,
Nyong'o,
it's just
Mia
getting bigger
Goth.
and bigger.
Yep, John Bernthal. Actually, the teaser that was out there before was John Bernthal talking to Tom Holland. Just providing some background, like a narrator, so to speak, just telling him the story. Do you know the story of the Odyssey, and do you know about your father? Blah 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 blah. Because Tom Holland plays his son. And then Anne
Mm,
Hathaway, like we said, you were talking about John Leguizamo, Benny Safdie, and like I said, like you said, I would guess Cillian Murphy's going to probably be in there somewhere as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is shaping up to be an all-star event right now. This is an Avengers quote unquote level roster that they're putting together. This is sounding to be very, very impressive.
Yep, absolutely. So
And
if
then
you want to go
obviously with
ahead,
Avengers coming out, that's
yes. Well, I still have to look for the cellular phone trailers for the Avengers on
oh,
that
I've
one.
seen that thing. I've seen that one. I've seen
Yes.
that one a few times.
The and then that's weird, they're trying to get you to go back and back and back to see Avatar. So this week, I believe it is Thor. They're going to do one with Thor. I don't know what the next two are, but there's four trailers for Avengers Doomsday that they're doing right now. I don't know
Yeah,
if any of it that footage is actually going to be used in the actual movie, but what we saw like with Captain America supposedly going back, it shows you what happened at the end
Rogers,
of
sir.
Endgame.
Steve
Yeah.
Rogers.
Yeah, Steve Rogers, that's correct. Captain America, yes. Sorry, Anthony Mackie. Captain yeah, Steve Rogers going into his house, just holding his kid, stuff like that. But it's only a few seconds, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with Thor and who else is added in there as far as the teasers. But yeah, Chris Evans. Oh, I'm never going to be in Avengers again. No, no,
Yeah, you
no,
know
no,
what?
no, no.
He did something where he was in some kind of interview and the biceps were bulging. I was like, all right, buddy. Like at some point you're gonna have to stop playing. Like this is not happening. Like we can clearly see you are putting back on Steve Rogers weight.
I
Now
don't know
this
what
this
you're
whole
talking about there, TJ. No,
yeah,
no,
no,
no.
no, no. You can
No.
fool a lot of people. But when you start wearing shirts that show the guns,
Hmm.
then people are gonna know. People are gonna know. People are gonna know. It
But
is what it
there's so
is.
many people already in Doomsday. They don't need me. They don't need me,
But
TJ.
how perfect is that? He gets to come in there and do his thing with a star-studded cast. He probably doesn't even have to film very long. Like, and he's gonna, I'm sure he receive a huge payday for this. Like, this
And
is
go
gonna be,
before Secret Wars.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. This is such an easy payday for him. And when I tell you that I'm excited to see it, I was already it's not that I wasn't excited before, Gerald. It's not that Marvel has not been exciting me, but Marvel hasn't been exciting me. And then finding out that he is officially, through the Vanity Fair article, that he's reprising his role as Steve Rogers, and then seeing the little grainy cell phone footage. Yeah, I am officially on board. I am on board for Avengers Doomsday. I'm on board for Secret War. I'm on board for all of this. Just
Okay.
put it right in my veins at this point. Like I am so ready for old school Marvel movies. And I feel so old saying old school Marvel movies because we're talking about like 10, 20 years ago. But I am so ready. Like just right into my veins, Gerald. I just go ahead and just give it to me right there. I want it.
I'm excited for it too. But the problem is that they had to go back to this, and that just speaks to the last 5 years of Marvel.
I don't know but I don't know if there's anything that they really could have done to avoid that. And what I mean by that is as they're trying to establish new characters outside of our core Avengers, right? Outside of our Thor and Captain America and Iron Man and all the above, Black Widow, it's difficult to introduce some of these characters and then still expect the people who have been rocking with Marvel to stay on board because we're so attached to who we're attached to. And essentially, we all went through a period of our life with them. So we're kind of attached. And that attachment, unfortunately, doesn't always bode well for new people trying to come in and establish their own thing. Now, granted, some of the movies were not the greatest. We all know what we were dealing with around this time, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
But us having such a strong connection to those characters that came before, it would make it difficult for anybody to come in and usurp that. I mean, and especially the way it ended with Endgame and Infinity War being as monumental as they were, like it was a tall task to ask anybody, unfortunately. And then, they clearly didn't stick the landing with some of their stuff. So all that kind of just compounded on each other. But it's kind of our fault too, man. We got so attached to these characters. It was gonna make it very difficult for anybody to come in and be the new guy. Like immediately, the new guy is gonna suck because
Mhm.
you're not what we want. So, anyways, doesn't change the fact that Steve Rogers is back, and I am happy as a clam. So,
There you go. And we'll see more of that in the coming weeks and months as we get closer to Avengers Doomsday. But 2026, in my opinion, is looking a lot
yeah,
better. And I think we need to devote an episode in the coming weeks to what is coming in 26. I'll prepare something out that I can best guess for video games, televisions, and movies
love it,
in a what we're looking forward to in 2026 and see if we can roll with that, my friend.
love it. I love it. I love it.
But there is also today, here and now, and a lot of the stuff that, as far as that was released this past weekend, are looking to start off 2026 on a good note financially,
Mhm.
especially one certain movie in kind, Avatar Fire and Ash, which opened over the course of the past weekend, looks to see if it could do some damage during the holiday season. I mean, not all the movies have been released in wide release. There's still movies that were supposed to be released in Christmas Day, but there was a batch of films that were released this past weekend, and Avatar Fire and Ash did on the lower end of expectations, around $90 million here
Mhm.
domestically, but worldwide, it's still doing well financially. It's $345 billion worldwide, so it does again. If you look at the $2 billion previous movies, both of them scored really well long term with it over a longer period of time, and also overseas is where they gained a big share of the majority. So I'm not 100% concerned as of yet, but I did pose this question to Josh, and I'm going to
Okay.
pose it to you now.
Okay.
I s- I'm beginning to think it will not reach $2 billion. There's a possibility of that in my mind, especially after getting off to a eh, note financially, because it was like $50 million less than what the previous Avatar did here in North America. So 2 billion will be hard, difficult. Let's just say that. Is it a failure if it doesn't reach that mark, in your opinion, my friend? We didn't think so. If it reaches 1.5 billion, if it still makes Disney a profit, but let me hear in your mind, what do you think success for Avatar Fire and Ash should be?
That's such a nuanced question because if we're looking at it from the shareholders and the Disney standpoint, then yeah, I think if it doesn't hit 2 billion, it's not a failure, but it's definitely a disappointment. I don't think it's a failure, but just considering how much they put into this world, this world that James Cameron has put together, and how much time and effort and energy, I definitely see it as being a disappointment. But to say it's a failure, and I know that not that you're really saying it's a failure, but for it to be viewed as a failure, I think that's such a nuanced thing because to be able to tell the story that he's been telling for as long as he's been telling it, because mind you, we're talking about Avatar, and this is a movie that came out in 2000. The original came out in, was it 2000, and when did the first one come
Eight,
out? 2008? Yeah, like late 2000s, early, yeah, like 2008. So
or is it nine? I have to
we're
check.
talking about, but I mean, I guess my point is, regardless, 2008, 2009, we're talking about a movie, an experience that when it came out was revolutionary, right? And then it took so long for us to get to the
Nine.
next one. Okay, so 2009. So it took so long for us to get to the next one. The fact that he's been able to kind of keep this momentum and keep this energy and keep interest as long as he has for this product, I think it speaks to how strongly people viewed it in and of itself. Because I mean, it's Avatar. I don't think that I would consider that to be a failure. I just think that it may be a bit of a disappointment, but not to say a failure. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily say a failure. I'm actually. I'll be adding to that total today. I'm going to take my daughter to go see it later on this afternoon. Having a little daddy daughter date,
Oh,
so
that's
we'll be going to
cool.
see. Yeah, so we're going to go see that today. But no, I don't think that would. I wouldn't consider it a failure. I consider it a disappointment for sure. um at least from their aspect, that's nothing to laugh at to me. I think I'd be okay with that. But as far as Disney and their shareholders are concerned, I think it may be considered a bit of a disappointment, yes, but not a failure.
Avatar is to be the number one movie for this year that was released. It has to probably go over $2 billion because Neja 2 finished off at 1.9. Zootopia 2 right now is at $1.2 billion. Probably by the end of its run, I'm saying 1.5. So if it finishes up above Zootopia 2, I'm still considering that a success. James Cameron is already talking about other movies, so I don't know if this mythical fourth and fifth Avatar will ever be done or completed or whatnot. If he's already talking about other projects like a Terminator project and stuff like that. So I don't know this for the last Avatar. For if it goes over $1.5 billion, I still think that's a success because, as my friend, and I put this every time when we talk about Avatar, my friend, documentary filmmaker Rob McCallum said long ago, Avatar has no real cultural footprint because once it's gone, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very, very difficult. It's almost like the question of who's the better basketball player or who means more to the game of basketball. Who's the GOAT, right? Michael
Mhm.
Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, whoever you agree with. The problem is that something was done once that can't ever be done. And that's kind of why Michael Jordan's always looked to be the GOAT, whether he's the most talented player or not. He was able to do something with basketball that hadn't been done previously and kind of put it on the map. So because of that, and because of the aura that goes around that, he will forever be goaded by a lot of people. Same thing, and I use that reference to say that unless you've done something to really revolutionize filmmaking, to really revolutionize the genre, the industry as a whole, it's gonna be very, very difficult for you to maintain the attention and the love beyond what people are seeing currently. And I think that's why, like you just alluded to, once Avatar is done, it really is going to kind of just be done. I mean, when Avatar released back in 2009, there was a talking point, but then after that, okay, well, it was a very, very aesthetically pleasing movie. But what was the message? What was the point? Was the point just to sell the visuals? Was the point to talk about, how bad we are for always taking up all the resources? Like, what was the point of the film? And I think that is going to be the hard thing for Avatar, because again, there really hasn't been a point. There really hasn't been a thing that makes you think about a film later on outside of it just being a visual spectacle. And quite frankly, we're in a day and age now where everything is a spectacle and it doesn't really stand out anymore. So I absolutely agree with that take 100%. I think that once Avatar is done, then it's just done. And it kind of just is unfortunately a product of the time. It's just not memorable enough. It hasn't done enough to warrant any type of real revision for anybody. So I agree.
We'll see. We'll see, my friend. Again, the book's not written on Avatar yet, so I just know it's getting off to a little bit slower start. But then again, I don't want to underestimate it because of any movie in history IP we should give some patience to, it is Avatar with the kind of legs the previous two films has. We could be talking about how by February we could be talking about how it could be passing Neja 2 as the number one movie of this year. So uh, we'll have to wait and see how this works itself out. But Disney is trying to back it up by providing the opportunity for you to go back 4 weeks in a row with four different Avengers Doomsday trailers. So we'll see what happens. But again, I don't think it wouldn't be a success because it doesn't reach those lofty numbers of his
Right.
previous films. I'm not putting in that category. Again, if it goes above 1.5, I think it still should be considered a definite success for me. But I wanted to go ahead and mention the rest of the box office for this past weekend. When it comes right down to it, a great success story so far in only 6 theaters for Marty Supreme. They were, I have the fortune of being near the Sphere as far as all the time around the city because it's in a very centrally placed area. you can see what they're doing as far as the promotion for Fallout Season 2 when it first came out last week, and they
Mm.
did the same thing. They made the sphere into a huge ping pong ball to honor what's going on with Marty Supreme, and that PR didn't hurt at all, as it almost made $1 million, about $875,000 in 6 theaters in limited release, and it's going to get a
Wow.
full release here on Christmas. This looks like a big time vehicle to catapult Timothée Chalamet and his hair, as I always say with him, to superstar status if he isn't already. Um, as the actors and actresses that we know and love and that still front movies today get into their late 40s, their 50s, and in Tom Cruise's and Brad Pitt's case, 60s, what happens with the next generation and how if they're able to go ahead and still bring people in the theaters? And one of those people that are still left, I think now, or that how Hollywood has successfully developed now, is Timothée Chalamet. Your thoughts, my friend, on Marty Supreme and Timothée Chalamet?
You brought up a couple interesting points with that, especially with the this idea of aging out, right? Because as you
Mhm.
mentioned, these a lot of these guys are getting older, and I've even had my first taste of at the tender age of 41. I've had my first taste of the aging out of real life. And so when you have these actors and these actresses and these people that are put into these roles and have been doing it for so long, but they're starting to, look like they may not be able to do so much longer, it's a little bit jarring. And especially when the people that you've personally grown up watching and watching them do their thing for as long as they have. So yes, I do agree with you when you say that they're kind of pushing Timothy to be, you know, another one of those faces in Hollywood. I think they tried to do so with Aaron Taylor Johnson, and it just didn't seem to work well, especially
And Glenn
with
Powell,
and Glenn Powell as well. Yes,
who
yep,
is that next great movie star? And
yeah,
right now, I
yeah,
mean,
with a
I know
great
Sydney
jawline
Sweeney.
and yeah.
We'll talk about Sydney Sweeney here in a sec because it's been very hit and miss with her. This weekend, I guess the expectations are with The Housemaid, which she stars in. Not too bad because it finished with $19 million domestically, but there are no vehicles yet for these stars outside of Timothy Chalamet that just seem to hit on a regular basis or a consistent basis, I should say, because and which concerns me that if you don't have stars that people won't want to go see and won't want to go to the films to go see them. Because for a while, it was all about the stars. For decades, it was all about going to see the stars in the films, and then it became about the IPs, going to see about Marvel, Star Wars, etc., Batman, etc., seeing about IP. Now it's what is the future hold for us once all these older stars age out?
Well, I think it sets us up for a different kind of movie going experience. I think that we're now getting to a place where there's so many other ways to get our fix, if you will. Like, we have so much more access to things nowadays than we did back then when we were making these movie stars, when the Denzels and the Will Smiths and all of them were up and coming. We didn't have such immediate access to entertainment right through our cell phones or right through our mobile device, any other mobile devices. So the game has changed, and I think that what we're starting to see now is that there's becoming a shift in what we consume, how we consume it, and because of that shift, the people we don't really necessarily attach ourselves to stars anymore. We attach ourselves to whatever we're feeling in that particular moment in time. And in this case, um, or in the case of who the next big movie star is, I mean, we still have movie stars, but I think they're just not as prevalent as they once were. I mean, we have young actors. Michael B. Jordan is still young. I think he's in his 30s at this point. Um, he's another young actor, but he still hasn't quite reached that top tier like first name basis status. but he's still doing very, very well. But I say all that to say it's very difficult. We're in a different time. We're in a different style of medium. We're in a different style of how we like to get our movies, how we like to get our entertainment. So it makes it very, very difficult. I don't think that that's an indictment on Hollywood or an indictment on. It doesn't leave me a concern for Hollywood, so to speak. It just makes me understand that we have to look at things just in a different scope and understand that the way that we used to look at Hollywood movie stars, we used to look at that whole genre, it's changed completely because, well, we don't do it the same way anymore. We're not those same people. We don't, have to wait hand and foot to hear anything about the next actor, or we don't have to wait to get more information on the next film in an IP or next film in a series because we have access to so much information so quickly that we know everything about the movie coming out before the movie gets out. Sometimes we know more about it than the actors who are in the process of filming the film know. So it's just a different time. I don't think I'm worried about it, but there is definitely a shift for sure. But it's not something I'm concerned with because that's kind of the way we're all going now.
That's true, but we'll see what happens, my friend. Again, wanted to go ahead and report on what's going on in the box office. David from Angel Studios, one of it's actually I think their largest opening as a studio with 22 million here domestically. But there's still more movies that are coming out this week because Christmas. You got to release the movie by Christmas, so watch out for Marty Supreme as it hits wide release on Christmas Day to make sure it's eligible. Well, actually it I think it's LA and New York by Christmas Day to make it eligible for the Oscars. I think that's what the deal is, if I remember correctly. Anaconda, which will not be up for any Oscars, I can just safely say, with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. Very interesting time to put this one out there. I don't know why they did this because this is definitely not something that a Christmas movie that I thought would be like, okay, that's the movie you got to go ahead and release on Christmas. But Anaconda, a loving reminder of the Anaconda from the past, is coming up here, and then also as well, Song Sung Blue will also be the other major film that's coming out on Christmas. And that's coming out with Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. Neil Diamond, I think movie it's based off of. So, yeah, if you're going ahead, check out a lot of films. I understand that Christmas time is a great time. Like you're going out today to go see Avatar. So if you guys have thoughts on the Christmas holiday season and movies, what movies you're going to go ahead and check out, please let us know. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, 1/2 hour down almost, and 1/2 hour to go here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford along with my good friend TJ Johnson. Truly appreciate you being here. Wanted to go ahead and mention to you, I sent this to you and you had a good laugh over it. Was the fact that Circana, I think what their new name now as far as for the whoever does the video game sales thing, as far as who leads, who doesn't. Call of Duty is looking more and more like that this particular Call of Duty Black Ops
Mm,
7. Is that correct? Is
well,
that what we're up
yeah.
to?
This is seven. This is seven.
Okay, so Blob 7 is not faring too well, or it will still lead the month of November, but it does not look like it will be at the top of the food chain this year. But lo and behold, and both you and I talked about this, and Josh and I talked about this. We wondered
Mm,
about it, but for the first time ever,
mm,
Battlefield will have the one up on Call of Duty, as Call of Duty will not be most likely the number one video game sales demon for the video game world. I mean, this goes back like multiple years, like 15 years. I mean, very few games like Hogwarts Legacy, I think GTA,
mm,
I think there's maybe a couple others in that period of time as far as in the past, 18 to 20 years have actually been ahead of them on a yearly basis. But otherwise, it's been mainly year after year after year, Call of Duty after Call of Duty. Activision recently announced that they are no longer going to be doing any blops back to back or modern warfare's back to back. Smart move. But your
mhm.
thoughts, my friend? You know what? It's so funny because Milo Ventimiglia. fronts this particular Call of Duty Black Ops, and it's so funny because he did so well in it, I guess, that he's now doing commercials. As far as I saw him do an insurance commercial, which is kind of weird, but be that as it's funny because now I'm seeing all these stars like the Wilson brothers,
Hmm.
they're doing
Hmm.
commercials. Who's the guy that plays Cyclops and is in Sonic the Hedgehog movies?
James Marston.
James Marston, yes, he's doing these uncredited roles where you, oh yeah, I know that person, I know that guy, but they're not. Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton is doing Sailor Phone. So it's so weird how I'm seeing all these stars that are still active, still doing stuff, still fronting stuff, but just they're looking for side gigs. Funny, they
Yeah,
always used to go ahead and do those ads in Japan where no one will see them. Now they're doing it all over where everybody will see them. But be that
right.
as it may, my friend, your thoughts on the possible fall of Call of Duty, and insert your Microsoft here.
I was waiting for the Microsoft dig right there. Um,
Hmm.
I've got a couple different thoughts, and I think my first thought is, you know, shout out to them for recognizing and actually just saying, okay, guys, we need to. It gets very easy for corporate greed to just override everything and be like, yeah, slap a new sticker on it, Black Ops 7 or Black Ops 8 and call it a day and we'll be good. People are gonna buy it regardless. It gets very, very easy for that corporate greed to kind of set in and obviously I think there was a little bit of that's happened, which is kind of why we're in this position that we're in now. But I think what's positive about that is that somebody said, okay, enough is enough. We are clearly not putting out what our fan base, our consumer base they're expecting. We need to go back to the drawing board and figure this out. And if that means that we need to take a year or two off and get the ship righted, then that's what we're going to do. I think that we were in a bit of a situation of quantity over quality, very similar to what a Marvel or Disney was going through with their IPs currently. And hopefully, this is a back to basics, back to the drawing board. Let's get back to what made this fun. Let's get back to what made gaming fun. And particularly, let's get back to what made Call of Duty a household name and made it the game that the premier shooter for the foreseeable, for the foreseeable future. Um, what's going to be interesting is to see if they have enough goodwill left to for a comeback when the comeback inevitably does happen, because obviously they're going to take a year off. So I wouldn't expect to see another Call of Duty game until 2028, maybe 2028. I mean, they may even push back a Modern Warfare at this point. Um, so I wouldn't expect to see another Call of Duty game until 2028. And at that point, I mean, I don't know what the Battlefield situation looks like or what the Battlefield release schedule is going to be looking like. I'm hoping that they kind of understand the position that they're in right now and take their time with it as well, because they have to know that Call of Duty's next shot is going to be one of their best shots, obviously at some point, whenever that shot does inevitably happen. But it's going to be interesting to see if there's enough goodwill left with the Call of Duty name to for the comeback, because everybody loves to see a comeback story. Everybody loves to see somebody fall but then get back up and right the ship again. That's what Rocky's been based on. That's what and most other movies and IPs have been based on. So Call of Duty can be no different, or has a potential to be no different in this point. What they have to do is again understand what made Call of Duty fun and get back to it. I really think there needs to be something where we get rid of these microtransactions. I know that it's a very, very hard thing to get rid of because we've opened up Pandora's box and we've seen how much money can be made with it. But I think at the end of the day, excuse me, I think at the end of the day, people are starting to recognize how detrimental they can be to the gaming experience. I mean, if you're looking at Call of Duty, if you're looking at NBA 2K, if you're looking at Madden, if you're playing the Madden Ultimate series, if you're looking at, Star Wars Battlefront, obviously the huge debacle with that. There's been so much going on with microtransactions and other things that go alongside the game as opposed to just the game itself. And then even when you look at the game itself with Black Ops 7, it's just not what people have come to expect from the Call of Duty name. So there's so much going on under that hood. There's so much going on behind the scenes. There's so much going on with the release of anything, that there's so many hands in that cookie jar that have opinions, and those opinions have opinions, and the opinions have opinions, and it's all about who's got the better opinion, or who's got the better stature for their opinion to be heard the loudest, if you will. And it doesn't always mean it's going to equate to a good game. So what I hope, Trill, to summarize everything, is that I hope that they are looking at this and saying, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board and really understand what the consumer is looking for. I think as a, I guess, millennial, I'm an older millennial at this point, but as a millennial who's still a game consumer, I'm looking for something that's going to be fun, that I can play out the box, and I don't have to necessarily buy an additional anything to enjoy. I'm looking for something that's going to be able to just bring back old school fun and just enjoying the game, and not feeling like I have to learn every nuance and every frame per second of every spawn point of every, just doing too much. I don't want to have to do all that, man. Sometimes I just want to get on there and play a game, and I want a game that's going to make that fun. And hopefully, with Call of Duty taking a break, they can find the fun and bring that to the consumer again, because that's what we're looking for. And I think we're finally at a point where we're ready to say, okay, now we got to start talking with our wallets, because clearly you guys aren't hearing it. You're not hearing our complaints. They've been complaining about Call of Duty for years. So now, hopefully, this is starting to show them where it hit them where it hurts. I mean, this game was just on sale for half off. Like, I found it on sale in multiple areas, multiple sites, multiple storefronts for half off. A brand new release title, not 90 days ago, half off. So this is a very interesting time. And before anybody takes another shot at Microsoft and the whole Microsoft behemoth and the wheelhouse that is Microsoft, actually, not. I got nothing. You should take your shots at Microsoft. They've earned it this time. They've earned it this time.
Oh boy, we have taken our shots over the course of this year on Microsoft and
Oh, they
Xbox.
earned this one. They earned this
They
one.
have totally killed their brand, and it's been very sad to see. We
Yeah.
had such high hopes and such good vibes early on this year, and that's one of the things I'll take away from most from this year is we had such aspiration and hopes and seeing what because we were just coming off of at the beginning start of the new year the success of Indiana Jones and
Mhm.
what was up ahead as
Loud.
far as
Yeah.
them releasing on the software end. And from a software standpoint, it was a great year for them. Let's put it that in perspective. But the fact that they just totally just finished off their hardware, which are before it really was ever given a chance. They've never really supported this generation of consoles and just yeah, I could go on for minutes. We have gone on for minutes. We have gone on for hours
Yes, we
this year
have.
on Microsoft, and I don't want to go ahead and touch on any more of it because it's just frustrating. But Call of Duty is probably the capper on the year for Microsoft being, a high and low situation. And even though Call of Duty ending up in the top 10 of sales, worldwide would normally be a win for any software maker. The fact that it will not finish number one and Battlefield will finally finish number one ahead of Call of Duty I think is going to be talked about very much in Redmond, Washington over the next few months or so. So we'll see if they do decide to delay or put off the next Call of Duty release. I'm not as confident as you on that, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
Are you still there? Have I still got you? It seems I lost TJ in as for just a second. Hopefully, we can get him back here. But once again, it is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Uh, it is, of course, TJ Johnson along with me, Gerald Glassford. Yes, we're talking about the Call of Duty mishap for this year, how Black Ops 7 will most likely not reach the number one status overall for video game. Yes, of course. It's gonna be just a second. He's coming right back, just having some technical issues. He'll be right back with us. Again, looking forward to seeing what will happen. I don't share TJ's enthusiasm. Well, I guess his reasoning, which is very sound, that they will delay it till the next Call of Duty 2020. I think that the money, Microsoft wants that money, wants that payback for the $80 billion. So I'm expecting a Call of Duty maybe 27. Uh, so who knows? Maybe even 2026. So we'll see what happens. But Modern Warfare, I think, is around the corner a little bit sooner than probably TJ and I would probably like, because I agree with TJ. They should hold off a couple years, in doing so to 2028. But I'm not sure that they can get their hands out of the kitty before doing that. But if you guys have thoughts out there on, of course, what's going on with the latest from Call of Duty, as far as Call of Duty Black Ops 7 not reaching that height of heights as far as sales, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Didn't want to make note for everyone out there. This week marks the second phase of Netflix's rollout of Stranger Things. But TJ, you're still there? You're with me?
I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes. Okay, you were just calling Microsoft to
I
tell
did.
them
I had to
what.
get on the phone with
Yeah.
Microsoft, and let me tell you something. She wasn't happy with what I had to say. All right.
Okay.
But she
All right.
understands that when TJ calls, you pick up that phone.
You're basically telling them to not listen to me and listen to the sound of reasoning and put it in 2028 just so you can put it in Gerald's face. But I actually agree with you. 2028 is when they
Yeah,
should do it. I just don't think, because $80 billion,
I
that's
know,
always going to
man.
be there, that they're going to put it out a lot sooner than that. I have this feeling it's Microsoft. They'll want to put
Yeah,
out Warfare sooner than that.
yeah. I don't doubt that either. I'm hoping. I really am. I'm hoping, and I'm being optimistic, very much so. I like to think of myself in life as as optimistic,
Hmm.
um, to say the least. And with that being said, I'm very very hopeful that they're looking at it from the standpoint of, we really need to start trying to do right by the consumer. We really need to at least put out quality product. If you're gonna put out product every year and it's gonna be quality product, then that's a completely different conversation. But clearly, the quality of the product has been diminishing. Granted, the sales are what the sales are, but if you're looking at the people that are still logged on to play it, those numbers have been dwindling down consistently every year. So
Hmm.
as long as they're looking at the entirety of it, it can't just be front frontline sales. It cannot be frontline sales, because then y- it can't be that. We're putting in money as far as $60, $70 for a game, upwards of 100, $120 for prestige editions of these games, for an experience that at the end of it all turns out to be really, really crappy. It may start off okay, it might start off fun, but it turns out to be really crappy. I'm just hoping that they're looking at it from that aspect and saying, okay, because if you think about the tumultuous time that they've had with Game Pass and the crazy price increase with that I even stepped down. I was the ultimate. I stepped down to premium because I'm not spending $30 on something that I don't get a chance to spend that much time with anyways. Um, so if you look at that, you look at this Call of Duty release, I'm really hoping that somebody in Microsoft saying, "Hey guys, like what are we doing here? Like what help me understand what the thought process is moving forward, because if this is what we're going to be doing, then we're not going to be in a position to do this much longer. Like they can't. This is not a sustainable. It's just not sustainable. They can't keep this up. So I am hoping that they do the right thing and take their time and really reevaluate their entire portfolio moving forward, and who they want to be and how they want to operate, because we still don't know. And that's concerning. It's in 2026, the year of our Lord 2026, and Microsoft still does not know who they are, what they want to do. That's crazy.
Well, let's go ahead and finish off this conversation here with a couple last topics. I did want to mention Stranger Things Phase 2 was being rolled out this week by Netflix. Are you getting back into the final season of Stranger Things? I made the comment that it was actually 3 billing cycles, but no, it's actually just 3 different phases. It's 2 different billing cycles to be exact. But your thoughts on Stranger Things real quick before I know I want to get to your thoughts on something very, very, close to your heart coming up.
Uh-oh. Well, as far as
And
Stranger Things, you
it
know what?
isn't the
I've
Christmas
never.
stuff either, so
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I've never been a huge fan of Stranger Things. I don't really know much about it. So I don't want to. I didn't get
no
on that hype train.
no
There are a
worries.
lot of times that I try very hard to stay away from hype trains. I remember when I was younger, everybody was all about Halo, and I was like, whatever. I'll play it whenever I play it. And then, holy crap, I played it and lost my mind, right? But I try
Mhm,
really hard to not get caught up in all the fads unless I was there from day one, and I wasn't. So, because I wasn't there from day one, I don't like to jump on trains. I'll catch
mhm.
it when I catch it. I was that way with Harry Potter. I did not watch Harry Potter at all as a kid. But one day, after my wife and I had visited Orlando and visited the Harry Potter world in Orlando, or Diagon Alley, I should say, I lost my mind because I was like, this is incredible. This looks great. And my wife's like, this looks just like the movie. I'm like, the movie looks just like this? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I haven't seen it. She's like, you haven't seen it? Anyways, long story short, I have not got into Stranger Things. Um,
No worries.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, people enjoy it, so there's that.
We'll find out what goes on as again they're going through their second phase, and it's leading up to I think New Year's Eve for a final a 2 hour last final episode movie-ish type deal. So we'll see what happens there. But I wanted to go ahead and make sure to get your thoughts before we get into Christmas stuff
Mhm.
to top off this Christmas episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. That John Cena, his career's
Oh
over supposedly. Okay, you've
no, his
I come
career
from
is not over,
I
sir.
come
His
from the Terry
in
Funk School
ring,
of Retirement. And so the Terry Funk School of
no.
Retirement tells me he is going to be back in Abu Dhabi or wherever the Saudi Arabian
Mm-mm.
WrestleMania will be because the Saudis will want John Cena there. And if the Saudis want, they get. Uh, uh, but I'll leave that as it
Mm.
is. If you guys want to go
Mm.
ahead and make of it what it is. But I said my piece with John Orlando last week
Mm.
on our wrestling show, special wrestling show, which we dedicated part of it with to John Cena. They've heard me at nauseum. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. I'm giving you a whole platform to go ahead and discuss John
Mm.
Cena. Was the last year a success? And did you like the way it finished up with Gunther?
That is such a nuanced question. Okay. First, was the last season was the last, was this retirement tour, if you will, a success? I mean, it really kind of depends on what you
Oh,
define.
financially, it was.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We're not even going to talk about the money aspect. I wasn't even going to play that game. But if we're talking about, well, like, it really comes down to what you define as success, right? I think what John Cena was able to do in this last year, first, the fact that he's been doing it as long as he has been, as consistently as he has been, needs to be appreciated. And I think that what this last retirement tour has been able to do is given us the opportunity to really appreciate John Cena. For the longest time, we said he couldn't wrestle. For the longest time, we said he was stale. For the longest time, and to be fair, he wasn't really a great wrestler. He was never a technical wrestler. He was much more of a powerhouse striker, brawler type wrestler. He was never really a technical wrestler. He wasn't a Kurt Angle. He wasn't anything near that. He wasn't a Ric Flair even. But what he was a workhorse that came in every day, every night, and left it in the ring. He gave you everything he had. He gave it to the fans. He gave it for the people in the back. Like he truly dedicated his life to wrestling. And it's always so funny when you hear these stories about how these wrestlers who become big time stars, The Rock, John Cena, Stone Cold, all these guys are always talking about how they had nothing. They were at nothing. The Rock is very notably talked about his $7 he had in his pockets, right? $7, $7 production. It's the name of his production company. John Cena was very much similar. He was working dead end jobs, uh, posing for underwear magazines, trying to become a bodybuilder. Like he was trying to figure his life out as well. It's no different with Triple H. And you hear these stories about these guys who had nothing, who came from nothing and became these huge mega stars. And I think what was different about John, um, in this regard, is that John, throughout his career, made it very clear that WWE was his priority, right? And throughout the majority of his career, the vast majority, I'm talking like 95% of his career, WWE was his priority, and he put everything that he had into into the business. And I think what this final tour given it gave us the opportunity to do was to really look back and appreciate John Cena for what he did, what he'd accomplished in the ring. 17-time world champion is crazy. Nobody thought that Ric Flair's record would ever be broken, right? But to be a 17-time world champion, to have,
Is it? Is it? Because
it
he's
is. I will not entertain any slander, Gerald. This is
he
not the time.
verifiable. Actually,
This is not the time, sir.
it's Ric Flair's in the 20s to be his
We're
actual.
talking about we're not talking about all the other stuff. Okay, we're not talking about all that.
He
Don't
actually
don't
has
you do this,
20. He has over 20 world
Gerald,
title holds
Gerald,
that people
Gerald,
can prove and
Mr.
document.
Glassford. We will
Sorry.
not be doing this. Okay.
Uh, all right. I'm just telling you, it's the truth is the truth. So
The truth is the truth. Is the truth, sir.
Ric
My
Flair
point
has over
is,
20 title
my,
reigns, and
my,
I'll
my,
leave that.
my point is
I think it's 23. If, I don't know.
twenty-three.
There's
Is
actually a show
really?
recent video that's been uploaded that actually listed out and detailed the number of
That's a lot.
victories he has.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Uh,
However, John Cena had an incredible run in WWE. So yes,
he did. I'll give you that.
I think that this farewell tour was successful from that aspect, giving us the opportunity to really appreciate John. Do I
Hmm.
think it was successful as far as the program in and of itself? That's a much more mixed bag. Obviously, you and I have had conversations about it. And I'd love to talk with John Orlando about this at some point. Um, but you and I have had conversations about how they really didn't know what they were doing when it came to the whole heel turn, if you will, and
Hmm.
everything that went along with it. And what I can appreciate, and especially when you get to the end, it seems like anybody once they get to the end of something, they become very candid. Kobe Bryant was the same way. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, but he was the same way when it came towards the end of his career. He got very candid about things. He got very open. He was not so closed off, and very much so with John Cena as well. He's spoken ad nauseum about how they only had a certain amount of dates to get a certain thing across and to try to do something different, and they only had certain dates, and to really be able to sell the type of things that they were trying to sell in such a short time, or or to sell the type of thing that they were trying to sell, you needed more time to do so. You needed more time to tell that story. You needed more time to let that stuff ferment, and to really get over before ultimately to swing back, where he goes back to being a face and all that good stuff. And they did not have that kind of time. And so I think that they were in a bit of an uncharted territory because they were trying to do something that hadn't been done in such a short a period of time that it came across very jarring. It came across very disorientated, very disjointed, no cohesion at all. And because of that, I think that that's going to leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. I think Triple H, Paul Levesque, if you will, is going to receive a lot of that flack, and I think maybe some of it rightfully so, because we should have been able to see that kind of writing on the wall, as to say, okay, this is not enough time to get this story told correctly, so we shouldn't do it. Somebody should have had the balls to say that in the actual, at the time, they should have been able to say, hey, this isn't going to work, and we need to recognize that it's not going to work, and not even go down that road, because what are we really doing it for, right? Here's where it gets interesting. In regards to Gunther, it was absolutely the right call for John to lose to Gunther. I wouldn't have done it that way because of who John Cena had built his brand on being. John Cena was always the guy that was hustle, loyalty, respect, super Cena, if you will, never give up, never surrender. And he didn't just lose, he tapped out with a smile on his face. Um, it's just it's not the way I would have wanted to see it. I would have much rather had seen a Stone Cold-esque style where he just passed out, where he didn't give up, but his body gave up. And still being true to who Cena had been, and being true to what Cena's character arc had been, and who he had been throughout the course of the entirety of his career as an active wrestler. And I use that term very purposefully. Um, I would have liked to have seen it that way, personally. Losing to Gunther was the right call because he's got all this momentum now. He was able to end Goldberg. He ended John Cena. Like, he's being positioned as a new legend killer, right? Yeah, taking over Randy Orton's spot. He may end up taking out Randy Orton at one point. You never know.
AJ Styles, yeah, a couple of these other guys. You're right.
Yeah. So it's very, very possible that they're kind of setting him up to go that route. And you know, I would not be. It would be it would be very remiss of John Cena to not be able to recognize the generations that are coming up after him, and to be able to say, okay, we're leaving it in really great hands. And I think that's what Saturday Night Main's event was really doing. It was really a showcase for the next up and comers, for the next generation of professional wrestlers, for the next generation of the entertainers that are coming out to do what he's done for so long. And I think it was the most John Cena thing that he could do, was really just take one for the team, take a L for the team, take a loss for the team, because he very much could have been Hulk Hogan-esque, and this is his ego getting the better of him and not allowing it, and change the spot right on the fly, and being John Cena, trying to appeal to the fans as one last time. But he's been a company man through and through. His entire career he's been a company man, and he's made it very clear that WWE is his home. WWE um is is him. He is WWE, and he bleeds it, and he made it his life. He made it his mission. He made it his goal. And I think that's incredible. I think that it really does show again who John Cena was as a person, as a performer, as a professional, and that he was willing to even take what was supposed to be about him and make it about the next generation of superstars. So I would have liked to have seen him, pass out as opposed to tap out. Um, but absolutely, it was the right call for him to lose to Gunther. And I would absolutely have made that call 10 out of 10 times. I just would have changed the way it happened.
Okay. Again, I said last week, you just listen to your fans, especially the ones paying $600, $700, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for those seats, and, because they will stop paying $600, $700, $1,500, $2,000 for those seats. But I can understand your reasoning, and from
Yeah.
that sense, it's very sound from what you're saying. But if you guys have thoughts out there on John Cena and his final run, please let us know. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we head on out, we got 3 minutes left. Retro review time, my friend. Christmas time it is, and despite what Macaulay Culkin, who's also in a film that is based around Christmas, but isn't 100% a Christmas movie, but it's called a Christmas movie, and I will call it a Christmas movie. Die Hard is what he said wasn't a Christmas movie. I disagree vehemently, but be that as it may, I will let him know that Die Hard is the best Christmas movie of all time. Your thoughts on your retro review before we head on out?
So if we're doing this on Christmas movies, so I've got two that come to mind right up there. Three if I want to get technical. But my first Christmas film that I absolutely loved, and I've loved it as a kid, I've always watched it, is Miracle on 34th Street. Miracle on 34th Street to me has always been the pinnacle of what Christmas spirit is, and what Christmas is all about. Um, it's such an old movie. I couldn't tell you who the stars are in that film because when I was younger, I didn't care. And it's not that I don't care who the stars are, but for me, Miracle on 34th Street is much more than me analyzing what the movie is, right? It's just how it makes me feel. And I think that ultimately is what cinema needs to come back to, is how they make somebody feel after they leave the cinema, after they leave the theater. But anyways, number one for me is Miracle on 34th Street. Number two for me is a very, very recent, it's a much more recent film and I've been able to get into it now because I've got, young kids still. Jingle Jangles on Netflix. It's a movie that has a predominantly African American cast, but it's just a fun Christmas movie. Great songs, great great music numbers, and it's just a very solid entry. It's not the best Christmas movie of all time, obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but it's not the best Christmas movie of all time. But it's a great Christmas movie nonetheless. My number three, my dark horse, man, my dark horse Christmas movie is Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is my dark horse Christmas movie, and I will fight. I will fight anybody that tells me it's not a Christmas movie. It is as much
Macaulay Culkin
a
might have a
Christmas
word with you, my
movie.
friend.
It's as much a Christmas movie as Die Hard. You know.
Or Home
Um,
Alone.
yeah, or Home Alone. Even Home Alone was not. It's not. I tell you what. If my parents left me at home for a Christmas family trip, what about that is a Christmas movie to me? What about that makes the Christmas a joyous time for me? That's not a Christmas movie. I don't think Home Alone's a Christmas movie. I would fire
Actually, it's
back.
a felony, to be honest. It's child endangerment. But,
Child endangerment, all the above. Like they calling the peoples on you. You your Christmas is ruined forever because you ain't gonna have the kids no more.
yep. Well, those are some great thoughts from TJ. TJ, I am wishing you and your family the happiest of holidays. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
Man, Gerald, I'm just yeah. I wish that the listeners, the world, a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you celebrate. I just pray that you get to spend time with the ones you love, because tomorrow is not promised, and we need to give each other their flowers while we're still alive. So, Gerald, I appreciate you. I appreciate the Pop Culture Cosmos. Thank you.
So, for TJ Johnson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great Christmas day.